The Federal Reserve just signaled a major philosophical shift. The new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh was sworn in on May 22, 2026. And in this very first FOMC meeting, he did something that made investors panic a little. The Fed held interest rates steady at 3.5% to 3.75%, which was expected by the markets. But what no one expected was that Warsh stripped the FOMC statement to just 130 words. His statement and press conference also abandoned forward guidance and refused to submit a dot plot. For the past 14 years, we have always gotten one, until now. These actions matter more than the rate decision itself. For investors, this change directly impacts bond yields, market volatility, and borrowing costs. Warsh was expected to be the cut rates chair. Instead, his first move opened the door to rate hikes. Half of the 18 members of the FOMC now pencils in a 2026 rate hike. And financial markets are pricing in a 25 basis point move by October in the Fed funds futures. The key question every investor is wondering about is what Warsh actually said, and what signals did he give about how he will run the Fed in his tenure? Most importantly, what does this mean for interest rates, for inflation, and for financial assets? Let's dive in. Kevin Warsh's track record and history. First and foremost, we need to understand that Kevin Warsh is not a traditional economist. In the past 2 decades, Fed chairs shared a common background of having an education in economics and often were involved in academia. Greenspan had a PhD in economics from NYU, Bernanke was awarded the 2022 Nobel Prize in Economic Science, and Yellen had a PhD in economics from Yale. Then we had Powell, who deviated from the trend with a law degree, and short stint at a small investment bank that ended up being acquired by Swiss banking giant UBS. And now Kevin Warsh, a former Morgan Stanley investment banker, Harvard Law graduate, and husband of the heiress of the cosmetic giant Estee Lauder. Arguably, we have a Fed chair that is more connected than ever to the financial world, Wall Street, and global business leaders. But that's not to say he isn't qualified for the role as Fed chair. Warsh served as a Fed governor from 2006 to 2011. During the 2008 financial crisis, he worked directly with Bernanke on the rescue of AIG. He also helped broker the sale of Bear Stearns to JP Morgan. While Warsh now counts the Fed's crisis response efforts among his proudest moments, his real-time commentary has been somewhat inconsistent, and that raises questions about his policy framework. In June 2008, months before Lehman Brothers collapsed, he told the FOMC that inflation risks, in my view, continue to predominate as the greater risk to the economy. While in fact, inflation had pretty much peaked out and crashed into the 2008 year end. The economy needed liquidity, it needed the money printer. The labor market was cracking. Then, in April 2009, with millions unemployed, he stated, "I continue to be more worried about upside risks to inflation than downside risks." Critics have called this a red flag, arguing he misread the crisis. His views also appear to shift with the political administration. Under President Obama, he was a vocal hawk, warning against excessive lending. In 2018, under President Trump, with the economy at full employment, he co-authored commentary arguing against rate hikes. This apparent inconsistency has led some to question his independence. Additionally, Warsh was the only policymaker to oppose the second round of quantitative easing, fearing it would cause runaway inflation. He has carried the skepticism into his current role, and we can feel this influence in the June 2026 rate decision. At his first meeting on June 17, 2026, Warsh inherited an economy with headline inflation at 4.2%, its highest since April 2023, and core inflation at 2.9%. The labor market added 172,000 jobs in May, more than double expectations, with unemployment at 4.3%. Effectively, it was a picture of high inflation, but also a strong labor market. He held rates at 3.50% to 3.75%. The unanimous vote was expected. The delivery was not. Warsh refused to submit his own projection for the dot plot, a chart where all FOMC members plot out where they think interest rates should be over the next 2 years. Every FOMC member has been doing this for the past 14 years, since the financial crisis. Kevin Warsh has become the first to break this trend. He confirmed he was the only official who did not submit projections, stating he did not find individual rate forecasts helpful to the current policy conjuncture. He also shortened the post-meeting statement from 341 words to just 130 words. stripping all forward guidance, no hints, no signals. He announced the formation of 5 task forces to review Fed communications, the balance sheet, data sources, productivity and jobs, and inflation frameworks. This was not a routine meeting. It was a strategic overhaul of how the Fed operates. And the general direction he has hinted at was that the Fed currently talks too much and hints too much. But what exactly does it mean for the Fed to have price stability and a hawkish shift? Warsh has long advocated for a quieter Fed modeled on the Alan Greenspan era, less communication, less micromanagement, more market-driven outcomes. At Warsh's press conference, he emphasized price stability, stating, "Persistently high prices are a burden for the American people. This committee will deliver price stability." He explicitly rejected forward guidance. Forward guidance is not the business we should be in. Warsh said in an interview, he wants markets to price policy expectations based on incoming economic data, not Fed promises. The dot plots and forward guidance introduced during Ben Bernanke's term had grown to be almost an invisible hand type of tool that the Fed increasingly used to manipulate markets and expectation without having to actually make policy adjustments. Despite this shift, Warsh's colleagues signaled a hawkish pivot. 9 of 18 officials now anticipate at least 1 rate hike in 2026, with 6 members wanting 2 hikes. This was a big shift compared to the March meeting, where none projected hikes at all for 2026. The market responded by pricing in a 25 basis point hike for this year's October meeting. The Fed also faces a need to balance the political tightrope. One big political question you might be having is, didn't President Trump appoint Warsh with an expectation of lower rates? At Warsh's swearing in, Trump told Warsh, "Don't look at me, don't look at anybody. Just do your own thing and do a great job." When asked if he had spoken to Trump since being sworn in, Warsh replied, "I don't have anything for you." He is signaling independence. One headline characterized him as decisively not Trump's sock puppet. A more important point most people overlook is Trump has just 2 years left of his presidency, while the position of Fed Chair is 4 years and can be renewed almost indefinitely. Paul Volcker held the seat for 8 years, Ben Bernanke a similar 8 years, Jerome Powell held it for 8 years, and Alan Greenspan held the seat for 18 years, almost a 2-decade-long tenure. That is to say, Warsh's legacy and career as Fed Chair will long outlive Trump's political agenda and the pressure from the current administration to lower rates. Warsh would likely not tarnish his legacy and sacrifice the Fed's independence right from the beginning of his tenure as the Fed Chair. And the current economic data somewhat gives Warsh perfect excuses to defy Trump's wishes for lower rates. The Iran conflict sent oil prices surging, and core inflation remains sticky. Wall Street firms are adjusting their forecasts accordingly. Goldman Sachs pushed rate cut expectations to June and December 2027 versus previous forecasts of December 2026 and March 2027. Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan both similarly project no cuts this year, with JP Morgan even projecting a rate hike in September 2027. Bond king Jeffrey Gundlach warned that Warsh faces a 1970s-style inflation challenge and is not going to be the easy money Fed chair many investors had hoped for. So if you are an investor, what are the 3 key things every investor needs to monitor closely? The Kevin Warsh era introduces profound uncertainty. First, expect higher volatility. With forward guidance eliminated, markets will react more sharply to each data release. 2-year Treasury yields spiked immediately after the June meeting, and this pattern is likely to continue. Second, track Fed independence. Warsh's history of shifting views and the political pressure from the White House will remain under scrutiny. Any public intervention by the current administration will signal risk to Fed credibility, although it will be interesting to see what sort of legacy he wants to build. And third, watch inflation and labor data closely. With Warsh focused on price stability, any sustained inflation print above target will justify further hawkish action. From his past comments, he somewhat views inflation as the more important side of the Fed's dual mandate. In fact, he has also strongly criticized the Fed on moving too slowly to curb the post-COVID inflation, saying when price moved up 25 to 30%, that's an indication that the Fed missed the mark. Warsh had also said that the economy is still currently dealing with the legacy of the policy errors in 2021 and 2022. Safe to say, we can expect a stronger reaction to rising inflation. This is quite different to the persistent inflation is transitory message the FOMC presented under Powell's time as Fed Chair. For everyday investors, this translates to higher borrowing costs, increased market uncertainty, and a need for more active portfolio monitoring. If the stock market or economy crashes, we may not have the Fed to backstop it with easy money this time. But if history is any guide, Warsh knows how to navigate a crisis. He has had experience in shoring up the 2008 financial disaster. Perhaps we can take comfort in that. If this breakdown was useful, like the video, subscribe and comment below. Do you expect Warsh to hike rates before the end of 2026? Stay informed, stay vigilant, and monitor the data. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.